Ouch.
Yeah.
Remember, I'll do music post record.
Okay. I'll go now. Welcome back to the Dynasty Happy Hour. It's Super Wild Card Weekend, and it has been a little bit wild. We've got a Vikings fan in the house. We've got a Giants fan in the house. We've got a Patriots fan in the house. I got no skin in the game whatsoever. So it's going to
Neither
be
does Tyler.
Yeah, not anymore. 4th and 8.
Oh, well.
Checks down to Hawkinson. And season's over. Da, da, da. Good times. Good times. What happened to Justin Jefferson? He just appeared in the second half, Tyler.
That's all coaching. I mean, it's happened how many times this year? It's
He's
ridiculous.
had a few duds. Yeah.
It's almost where he starts out the first quarter with like 5 catches, and you're like, holy crap, he's gonna have like a 20 catch game, and then like, well, we got him his share. Let's just move on and worry about.
It was like Diggs today. First quarter has almost 100 yards, and then ends the game with like 120.
It's ridiculous. Like, it was working. You're getting this guy open. It's almost like how O'Connell. He's the guy that you have the first 20 plays of the game scripted out, and then after that, he doesn't know what the fuck he's gonna do with Jefferson. Like, he's scripted out these 20 plays for Jefferson, and then after that, it's like, oh shit, we have this guy Justin Jefferson on the team. We should get him the ball. He's the best receiver in the game. Like, oh my god.
I think something happened, like someone winked or something like that. Maybe Wink Martindale
Did he get Martindale?
saw what was going on there and
You're lucky
put a stop to it.
You're lucky you have a win, because that was terrible.
That's true. And speaking of wins, we are going to go over our hot take episode. It's the accountability episode, which I love so much because we can go back, we can look at the takes that we had, and then we can be like, oh, wow, I was super way off. Or we can dance around and celebrate like crazy men and be like, this is why you listen, because we hit on this. You're welcome if you took our advice, or not advice on a hot take episode, but if you're like, oh, I feel what that's going on, let me go trade for this guy, then maybe you netted some nice profit. So that's what we're here to do today. But before we do that, want to make sure that you're checking us out on YouTube every week, 9 o'clock Eastern, usually the 3 of us, but it might be two people, might be one person, might be subbing some people out. We're crazy. You never know what's going to happen here on Dynasty Happy Hour. So make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. That would be awesome. Every Sunday night we'll be here. You can chat in the chat box. We'll answer your questions as we go while we can. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. And what else is awesome is feeling smooth, feeling fresh, and just being in the best condition you can be in for your lady. And that's with Manscaped. And you can do that. You can shave all your parts. You're not going to get cut. You're not going to get nicked. You're not going to bleed, which is a great thing. I think we've all had those stories where we tried to be cute and been like, oops. And then we got little tissue dabs and doing our thing. You don't need that. Manscaped is awesome. You'll be dolphin smooth. You got the trimmer. It's got a light on it. It's rechargeable. Nose hairs, ear hairs, they're a thing of the past. They're going to give you that trimmer as well as all the stuff to make your stuff fresh, clean, just an awesome experience. I'm telling you now. No complaints here is all I'm going to say. So make sure you check out Manscaped. Use code DHH and get 20% off at Manscaped. Your balls will thank you for it. They talk to me all the time, and they constantly thank me. It's actually kind of annoying after a while. Not going to be honest. All right, let's get into some news. It's mostly coaching news, but there is some player stuff in here as well. Cliff Kingsbury, he's been fired, and he took a one-way ticket to Thailand. Maybe he's hanging out in Bangkok, if you know what I'm saying. Fox's Peter Schrager reports former Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury's in Thailand and is not interested in coaching next season. With his looks, he's probably just over there slaying. He's getting $7 million a year from the Cardinals. Not a care in the world.
There is a scene on The Office. I'm rewatching The Office right now, and it was perfect timing, where if you've seen the show, Ryan, who was the temp, became the higher up, and then he gets fired for money laundering and all that. Well, he goes to Thailand, and they're like, well, how, Ryan? Because he's like, aren't you guys going to ask me about Thailand? And they're like, well, how was Thailand? He goes, it's indescribable. Like, that's, I just watched that episode after, right before this announcement happened. So all I could think of was Cliff Kingsbury going to Thailand, just being like,
Can I blow your mind? And you're probably going to not respect me as much after I say this. I have never watched a full episode of The Office.
Me either.
That's
Don't worry.
fair. I mean,
two versus
it's
one
literally a show that you're.
I know
gonna
it's
hate
funny.
yeah.
There's something
I
about
get it.
comedy sitcoms. As I've gotten older, I
I
Parks and
love
Rec. I
'em.
heard is great. Always
Love
Sunny's
'em.
great. I can't. I don't know. I don't know what
Always
it is.
Sunny is a classic,
I know.
and then
Even like Family Guy, like anime, I can't. So
I think Cliff Kingsbury's just going to hang out in Thailand probably for the rest of his life. I heard you could live like a king there for like $8 a day.
yeah, and he's making $7.5 million from the Cardinals for
he
the
is
next handful of
king.
years. So
he is the king there.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna name it Kingsbury Land is what they're gonna do.
Nice.
So the Houston Chronicle is reporting that Texans wide receiver Brandon Cooks has told the team he doesn't want to be part of their rebuilding process. Not a real big surprise. He was kind of a diva at the trade deadline, and then he had an injury, and then he came back and played the last couple of games. So,
Fake injury.
yeah. So Brandon Cooks, the Texans are looking to get as much draft capital as possible. So it wouldn't surprise me if they move him for a 4th, 5th round pick. There's going to be some receiver needy teams in this league that are looking for I wouldn't call Cooks an alpha, but I think he's still got juice. So there'll be teams that are looking to get him. So wouldn't be surprised to see him moved on draft day or beforehand. So keep an eye out on that. And all the Nico Collins and all the John Mechie, his recovery looks like it's going really well. He's a sneaky buy right now if you're looking to get a receiver on the low. So go and invest in Mechie because he should be some target shares. Maybe they get a quarterback. Let's hope. Who knows?
They will.
Yeah. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Rams are expected to pick up quarterback Matt Stafford's 2023 option bonus and 2024 salary this offseason. And then ESPN's Diana Rossini reports that Sean McVay informed members of the Rams organization that he will be staying on as head coach. And I've got some breaking news. Aaron Donald said he is a former Los Angeles Ram on his Twitter account.
Bye-bye.
Did he sneakily retire and just walk off to go fight grizzly bears for the rest of his life? Because that's my nickname for him, has always been the grizzly bear, because he just looks like one. So maybe Aaron Donald retired. That'll give them some cap relief. God knows they need it.
He came out saying that it was kind of misinterpreted, but I mean, you don't put that without.
Yeah, you do that on purpose. You don't go be like, I accidentally typed former. My bad.
Gotcha, guys.
Whoops. And he just restructured his deal, I think, this year, too, to get more money up front. So, obviously, a situation to monitor. Lots of changes. Jalen Ramsey posted something cryptic about leaving the Rams as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see them just drop C4 all over the stadium and blow up the locker room and move some of those big contracts like Ramsey, like Donald. They'll obviously keep Stafford. Maybe Allen Robinson. Who knows? God, remember that guy? Oh, man. I don't want to talk about it. The Saints general manager, Mickey Loomis, said that Dennis Allen will be the New Orleans head coach in 2023. Not a
Andy
surprise
Dalton,
there.
Wheels up.
Yeah, that's another organization that's going to be in transition. Michael Thomas looks like he's probably going to be let go after he just restructured his contract. Marshawn Lattimore is an older player. Jarvis Landry, Tyrann Mathieu. They just got that team is weirdly built like they thought they could compete this year, and then they just couldn't. So no idea what goes on there at quarterback going forward. Is it Jameis? Is it Andy Dalton? Is it a rookie? Is it Jimmy G? I don't know. I mean, I don't really care, I guess.
It should be Jameis, personally. Like,
I agree with that. Jameis
it's
and Olave
disgusting.
would be great.
It was great. That's the thing.
Even what's his face, the rookie kid with the speedster with the long touchdowns.
Rashid.
Yeah,
Shaheed.
Rashid. That would be fun
Raheem
with Jameis
Shaheed.
Winston. Yeah, Rasheed Wallace with the little spot on his head. It'll be great.
Oh man, Rasheed Wallace.
You'll love to see it. The Patriots have announced that they plan to hire an offensive coordinator. Yeah,
I put this in for you. Doug.
Thank you,
The
God.
best part is we're gonna see Bill O'Brien back in the NFL. I think like it's almost a foregone conclusion in my opinion. It's either
I think
like,
Kraft wants Bill O'Brien too.
yeah, and whatever Kraft wants, he
Kraft
gets.
gets.
Well, sometimes. So that'll be interesting. Matt Patricia, go up to the front office and do the old Ernie Adams thing, because a defensive coordinator as the OC, that just didn't work out. It looks like they're going to keep Gerard Mayo. Don't know if they're going to give him the DC tag and then bump down Steve Belichick. Who knows? So there's a whole bunch of internal
should.
drama. They should, because Mayo's been requested interviews for head coaches. He turned them down, so he's definitely going to stay with the Pats, I think.
Mayo's so good. Like you can use it on anything.
He's spread all over the field when he was a player too. He's amazing.
Every time I hear the word Mayo, I think of what's that? Get Hard with Will Ferrell.
Oh yeah, with him and
Oh,
Kevin
yeah.
Hart.
Yeah.
I always think of that role like I feel like that role was a spin-off of like when he was Gaeta in
Gator.
Yeah.
in
Gator don't play no shit.
yeah, that one. What the hell was the name of that movie? I should know this.
It was other
Despot.
guys.
Yeah, other guys. I
It's
feel like
top
that Gator
5 movie.
character was like that.
The
They
other
just
guys is a
moved it.
top 5 movie, by the way, in my
It's
in my
sneaky,
books.
sneaky, excellent. Yes, I agree with you on that one. All right. You know what? The season has ended. If you've been a lazy commissioner and you're like, oh, I need to spend money and I need to get a belt and I need to get it customized and I need to do all these things for my league because it's the right thing to do, commish, look me in the eyes. Talk to me. You're going to go on Trophy Smack. You're going to use code DHHRING. You're going to get a free $60 championship ring. You can do whatever you want with when you order a belt or a trophy. DHH ring, go and do it. For commissioners of non-football leagues, hockey, basketball, baseball, soccer, it's all customizable. They have the right trophy for everything. And if you're looking to get something for that loser in your league, thank you, Tyler, for modeling that. And that'll be mine sooner or later. You losers in your league, you can get them something too for sucking and being terrible. Al. From
Guys are
first to worst, Al. Yikes. He got snapped. Yeah. So, Al, listen up. Code DHHRING on TrophySmack.com. Do it now. All right. We're going to get into accountability. Do we just want to do...
I haven't listened back. I have not looked at the show sheet. I want to kind of have a natural reaction at my own takes.
Okay.
And I don't remember your guys's, so
All
let's
right,
just
this is
kinda
good.
go
What,
in a
what we'll
fun
do
order.
is we'll start with Tyler. We'll do one of Tyler's,
Read the
one
show
of James.
sheet. It's on the
one
show
of,
sheet.
Yeah, don't let him read it. He doesn't know how to read. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, forgot.
Did
I'll
you put
do
it in crayon?
Yeah, pretty much.
yes. So we'll go Tyler, one from
Big
Tyler, one
blue
from James,
letters.
one from me, and then we'll just keep doing. We'll do one at a time and just do a round, a
Perfect.
red robin,
Let's
if you
do
will.
it.
Do it. All right. So Tyler, your first hot take of the 2022 season was that the 2022 QB class will be better than the 2021 class. And James, he kept score on these. He said TBD. Tyler, what do you think? 2022 QB class. You said it was going to be better than last year.
No.
I don't know.
I mean,
think
beside
so.
Trevor Lawrence really stepping up his game, speaking of last night, coming back from a 4-interception game, coming back and just
And,
lighting the world on fire.
Fields being like QB5.
Yeah, Fields running all over the field. He's not the passer. I do have faith in Kenny Pickett. I actually think he will make a big step forward next year. But other than Pickett in this last draft class, I have my worries. I don't know if Ritter is it for Atlanta. I do think he has a Davis Mills type audition this coming year. He got better each and every game. And he'll have Kyle Pitts next year, thank God. And then Malik Willis is going to take probably another 20 years to finally get the NFL game integrated. But other than that, like Matt Corral's not it. They're probably going to draft somebody. There's a lot more questions in this class. So that was definitely off. I think Pickett, though, in my opinion, it pretty much all depends on Trey Lance. We don't believe in Zach Wilson, but Trey Lance is the deciding factor. And I posted on Twitter, I said, what does San Francisco do? Like, that's going to be the most interesting story. Brock Purdy is a great quarterback in this system. Like, I was telling you guys, his tape was bad. It was very bad.
That's why he was Mr. Irrelevant.
Anybody in the College of Canton leagues will tell you Brock Purdy was terrible last year. He was not good for Iowa State. And then yet he's doing this with Shanahan. But then yet we see Shanahan do this with players like C.J. Beathard and other players. So like
Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins, people thought Mullins could be a starting quarterback in this league. And then he goes to Minnesota and is dog crap. Like he's a backup. But yeah, Purdy and Trey Lance kind of situation is going to be very interesting. People say, what if Trey Lance gets traded? In my opinion, I don't see that happening because they have a great situation on their hand. They have very cheap quarterbacks, 2 of them. They have very bad injury history.
You're not going to feel the loss of Garoppolo really at all now.
Yeah, and Purdy could be a fantastic backup if Lance gets hurt, and Lance has not proven anything. I think they do throw Lance Bass back in, and and then Purdy will be the backup, and if Lance kind of falls on his face, they've got their quarterback. Like they're in a great situation. San Francisco drafted very good, and they got a very good coach.
The interesting thing about this rookie class is almost every rookie quarterback started a game. Bailey
Except
Zappi,
one.
Skylar Thompson, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ritter, like Purdy. What was the one that didn't?
Sam Howell. And this
No,
is
he started in week
He
18.
started
Oh,
week 18.
oh, I
They all
apologize.
started a game, I'm pretty sure.
Matt
I
Corral
apologize.
did not.
Oh, Matt Corral. Yeah,
'Cause
but,
he got
but that's
hurt.
injury,
He
so
got
that's
hurt.
an asterisk.
Yeah.
And
But all
Howell's
the other
starting in
quarterbacks did.
2023. That is my favorite part. Washington Commanders realize they have a good quarterback in-house. They don't need to go out and draft somebody. They realize they got something in Sam Howell, and they're actually giving him a chance, which
Well, we'll see.
they are. Like
I like the
2020
way that they kept him on the back burner throughout the season,
And there
just
could
because
be
of
new
the
ownership
playoff
on
run.
that team, so it could be interesting to see what happens for sure.
I-
All right, let's
yeah.
move on to James's first hot take of the season. It wasn't too far off on this one. James said that Saquon Barkley of his New York Giants that just beat the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs. I don't know if you heard that.
Hey.
But he said that Saquon would be the RB1 overall. He finished as the RB5. So not too far off, James. That's pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad, you know. I mean, Saquon, we all knew that he was going to be the focal point of this offense going forward, and just
Especially because they
the
had no receivers.
well, we didn't start out like that. We had
Yeah, I
some
know.
receivers in the beginning, and we saw that continue to change throughout the season. Kenny Galladay, who just played in the game today, 0 receptions, 0 targets.
Shocker.
So that's something that we have to still deal with. We're not going to be able to get rid of him right away, but with Saquon coming up with 1,300 yards and over 300 receiving yards, I think this continues. I think they re-signed Saquon Barkley moving forward. He looked electric. 2 touchdowns today against the Vikings. I know the defense isn't that good. Sorry, Tyler.
they don't have
how-
a defense.
However,
Cheeks.
I think we're looking at a turnaround for the franchise. It all started with Coach Brian Daboll, and it's going to continue into the 2023 season. For those of you that bought low on Saquon Barkley in the offseason last year, you will be rewarded moving forward with a fresh new contract in 2023.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move to my first one. It was that Kirk Cousins of the aforementioned Minnesota Vikings would be a top 5 QB in 2022. Not too far off. He finishes QB9, so he was a QB1. I thought with Cousins, with O'Connell's offense, they trade for TJ Hawkinson, which was really big for Cousins, and it looks like Hawkinson is going to be an absolute stud going forward for the Vikings. I mean, he could easily be tight end 2 next year. I mean, we don't know what the Ravens are going to look like, right? And
He's
George
definitely going to be in that
I'm out on George
conversation.
Kittle still, but yeah, Hawkinson
He
should be a
finished
top
as tight
4.
end too.
Yeah, he should be a top 4 tight end easily going into next year. So if you bought low on TJ Hawkinson in the offseason because the Lions weren't really using him, this was probably one of the best trades for dynasty purposes during the whole season to see Hawkinson stock go way up. TJ Stockinson is what they say. So,
Is it a credential now? And I was thinking about this during the game today when I'm seeing his long curly hair. He reminds me of Greg Dolchik. Is that like a what's that?
remember George Kittle used to have long hair too.
Yeah, Kittle used to have long hair. I don't know. Is that like
Flowing
a
locks.
thing that you have to do now for a tight end? You have to have long hair.
I mean, some of them do, some of them don't. I don't know. I guess it's a
Okay.
personal preference.
All
if
right.
you will. So yeah, so not too far
TJ
off
Lockinson.
on Kirk Cousins. So I felt pretty good about that in retrospect. All right, Tyler's next one. James Cook will be a top 12 running back, which was very bold.
Very
And that
wrong.
means in dynasty like draft ranks, not in the season. He'd be a top 12 running back. DLF currently has him as RB 26, so he's just outside the running back 2 space. But I think this one could be in the offseason. He could
18-ish.
definitely creep up into RB2 because Devin Singletary is a free agent. There's not really much else on that depth chart at the moment.
It looked bleak to start the season, and
His
the
average
more
yards per touch were number 1 in the NFL at the position, I believe.
and then as the season went on, you saw the trust and the explosiveness that I saw on tape, and it just seems like James Cook got a little more comfortable with the system and trusted himself and his talent, and the Bills did the same, and you kind of saw it kind of come forth. And all my James Cook shares are very happy for it going into 2023. I'm very pumped to see a full season of what we saw the past 5 weeks.
Yeah, I think in week 14, we saw the great usage, and then we wanted to see that the rest of the season. And then in week 15, I started him in Scott Fishbowl, and he scored like 3 points, and I was all sorts of pissed. Because I was like, this is the transition. They're going to use Cook. And then they didn't. I was like, the Bills would just establish the run. They just refused to run on a consistent basis, which, I mean, you also have Josh Allen at quarterback, so he's going to do a lot of rushing too. But yeah, definitely annoying. And I think James Cook stock is going to be going up all spring and summer. So I like that one. All right. Speaking of the Bills, James had one. Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs both finished
I was
as
close
wide
on this.
receiver ones. Diggs, wide receiver 4. So ding, ding, ding.
50% right.
You got that one right. Davis, almost out of the wide receiver 3 conversation. He finished at wide receiver 34 and is one of the more frustrating players to roster all season long because he was boom or bust.
I like the fact that, this didn't really hit, that the fact that he played great today in the Buffalo Bills versus Miami game. I think that his stock can still continue to rise a little bit, and if it does in the offseason, I'm selling. Like that's it. I've experienced enough
I've already sold
from Gabe Davis that I'm excited. He's an exciting player, like you said. Boom or bust, though. You feel the bust a little bit more than the boom, and that's what scares you. He does have notoriety, name notoriety during the playoffs. He's a great receiver. Yeah. I mean, but we need that more consistency throughout the season. And I don't think it does happen with all the weapons on this offense. I mean, Isaiah McKenzie, we saw Cole Beasley get in the end zone today.
Shakir.
Yeah,
Khalil
Shakir.
And obviously Stephon Diggs isn't going anywhere. And I think Tyler was right with his statement saying James Cook is going to take a step in the right direction next year. We saw it on the field today. It all depends on what's going on. I don't think Gabe Davis is going to continue to rise, but if he does, I'm getting rid of him.
Their draft is going to be interesting because I could see them, late first, maybe even second round, trying to go for a bigger named receiver, somebody with high upside. If somebody falls like Jackson Smith-Njigba because of the 40 time, if he falls, kind of like Juju did.
Keyshawn Boutte.
Yeah, Keyshawn Boutte would be a perfect fit for them because he's ultra talented, just has kind of an attitude problem. And if there's a system I'd want him to go to, it's definitely the Bills. And he'd be like a Gabe Davis plus because he can do a little more than Gabe can.
I mean, Gabe Davis, he doesn't call for a lot of money. He was a later round draft pick, so that helps out there. They are actually below the league average with cap money for next year. So that is something to keep an eye on as well. I don't think they go out and automatically replace him. I think he's found his spot in the offense, and I think he will be around for at least the next 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe Davis, arguably the player with the most hype in the offseason after the 4-touchdown game against Kansas City.
Big drop.
Yeah, for sure. All right, my next one. This one was a whiff. Cole Kmet leads all tight ends in receptions and has over 100 with 1,000 yards. I got off to a slow start. He finished as a tight end 1 still, but not the tight end 1. He had 64 targets, 46 receptions for 487 yards. Started to get cooking with the touchdowns towards the end of the season. He finished as tight end 11. My process on this one, I'll still defend because they just had Darnell Mooney. Allen Robinson moved on. They didn't draft anybody at the receiver position. So I was like, Cole Kmet is going to get hyper targeted like he did last year. And it just didn't work out. They changed the offense midway through the season and became even more run heavy with Justin Fields, who had, the second most rushing yards of all time. I still like Cole Kmet quite a bit. But this one was, the process was good, but the end didn't end up what I thought it would. So that's why it's a hot take. So boo to me. Let's move on. All right. Tyler's next one. Speaking of tight ends, I see a pattern here. Pat Freiermuth, tight end 6 in Dynasty. He's currently the tight end 7, up from the tight end 9. So pretty solid here, Tyler. What do you think about Freiermuth going forward?
It wasn't that big of a hot take.
It was a lukewarm.
It was a mediocre
take.
I remember saying like top 7.
It wasn't.
You guys were giving me a hard time for the hot take. So I moved it up 1 spot because I was naming off tight ends I'd put, and I remember that. And I still think I'd have him around 6 or even 5. I know we kind of had a conversation about Dallas Goedert or Freiermuth, and I almost think I'd go Freiermuth. Just
I mean,
based
when
off-
it's him and Pickett, he gets almost a 25% target share.
But my only issue now is with the concussions because he had like 13 more this season, and Pat Freiermuth has a history of concussions.
Yeah.
So that is not a great thing to kind of ride on. I know Dallas Goedert has one from a South Dakota bar he was in
Yes.
about a year and a half ago.
And got
But-
wrecked.
Yes. But yeah, I really like Pat Freiermuth. I still think he's a super buy low in Dynasty because, in my opinion, I think he's got the opportunity to be a top 6 tight end in Dynasty. He's got the PPR ability, and like you said, Doug, when it's him and Pickett, it's 6 for 90, 6 for 80, and if you get that touchdown, it's just gravy.
And he was down in the touchdown department this year. I think he only ended
Yeah.
with 2 or 3, and he had 8 in his rookie year. So there'll be some positive regression next season for sure. And that just passing touchdowns in general for the Steelers. Deontay Johnson had none on 140 targets. Like, that's bonkers to me. So now our next one. This is the highlight of the show. The spotlight is on James. This is the biggest hit. This is a sniper shot from 300 meters in Fortnite. No look, no scope. Boom, boom, boom. The biggest hit on all of this list, and especially because Tyler and I laughed James off the pod. We were
I felt so bad. Like, I was going to put my letter of resignation in, and
we were hoping.
Tyler
we
was
were
like,
hoping you would.
Tyler was like, "Oh, I'm gonna bust your chops all season long."
Oh, we gave so much
pass the
crap for
tater
this.
tot hot dish,
Oh, we gave you so much crap for this. And so James said Evan Ingram, just on the Jacksonville Jaguars, came over as a free agent, that he was going to be a top 5 tight end, and we belly laughed. He finished as the tight end 5. He nailed it. Target acquired right in the center. He's tight end 17 in Dynasty, up from tight end 26, which tight end 26 is like, you're dead at the tight end position. And even 17, that's going to go up because he just had a great playoff game. He finished the season as a league winner at the position.
Should get re-signed.
Should get re-signed. Like, James, this is all you. Talk about Evan Ingram. The spotlight's on you. This is all you, bud.
I mean, it goes back to before the season started, where we look at Coach Doug Peterson's track record of playing the tight ends and making them part of the offense moving forward. And he's done it in the past. He did it with Zach Ertz. He did it with Dallas Goedert. And it transferred right over to Jacksonville. He knew what he wanted to do when he went out and got Evan Ingram in the offseason. They gave him a 1-year prove-it deal for $9 million, which is not a small little prove-it deal. That is, we need you on this team. And it's come to fruition. We see them with the huge upset yesterday up against the Chargers, which was unbelievable, Doug, because I know we were talking and you said, yeah, I turned it off at halftime. It was just ridiculous. It was a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw the third highest comeback in NFL playoff history due to the fact that Evan Ingram was on the field doing his thing. And no, it wasn't a one-man show like we saw him do throughout the season. He had those big 2 touchdown games, over 100+ yards, and it's going to keep him in the top tight end conversation moving forward. The way the offense is grinding, the way that Trevor Lawrence looks for him in the middle of the field and near the red zone, in the goal line, in the end zone. Yes, end zone. Just to move the ball forward. He is definitely a weapon that will be re-signed, and I think his success has finally taken a turn for the better, and it moves forward going from here. Yep.
Yeah, year what, 5 or 6 breakout? Kind of
Year
like David
5
Njoku.
breakout.
Year 5, and he's 38 years old or so.
Oh, Tyler, you're such a hater, man.
The best thing is
Ages.
He's 28.
He's a
He's
tight end.
28.
So tight ends can play for a while.
So he can, for the next 5 years, be on
3
on the Jaguars. And I think he does. I mean, he was out for a while for an injury. He did not gel well with 8 different coaches that we had in New York. And I'm happy for him.
He didn't gel well with the football. He caught the football this year.
Maybe it was someone throwing him the football that he didn't like.
Well, I mean, when you watch the Giants tape, it was hitting him right in the hand. So maybe he was using too much gel.
Maybe.
We use
All
a
right.
lot of gel here in Jersey. You know?
That is very true. All right, let's move on. My next hot take, and this one was pretty spot on. It's a miss, but it's only by 1. Isaiah Pacheco, who is another hot name as the summer went on, before the season. He was looking good in preseason. So my hot take was that Isaiah Pacheco would finish outside the top 40 running backs. I was close. He finished at RB 39, and that's really thankful to Jerick McKinnon stealing all the touchdowns. I thought Pacheco looked good. They didn't use him in the passing game, and McKinnon was getting all the touchdowns. And, you know, I knew that Hilaire was still on the roster. I thought that this was going to be a little bit of a bounce back season from Hilaire. Pacheco's a 7th round rookie running back. So where he's being drafted as like a late sleeper and redraft, and people were going bonkers for him in Dynasty. Pretty spot on. You know, I was only off by 1 spot.
You got this one pretty well, may I add. I will give you that. The fact that you said outside the top 40, he finishes at running back 39. However, you did say that you were going to have a bounce back season for CEH, and we were talking about how Ronald Jones was on the bubble and McKinnon was. You made a slight comment on Jerick McKinnon, and I wish that comment was a little bit stronger because I would have check marked it as a total win. But yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit this one. But I think Isaiah Pacheco moving forward, man, he was worth it. We talked about it on the episode, I think after our hot takes, where I said I paid a second for Isaiah Pacheco, and now it turns out that it was a really late second in a 14-team league where I'm getting.
You should flip him while you can, because
100%. If I can
round
move
7
up to
running
the
backs
top
or
of the second,
UDFA running backs, let's go through them that maybe had 1 good season or 2 good seasons, didn't last. Phillip Lindsay,
it's
Myles Gaskin, Chris Carson.
I mean, you don't need to name them all, but yeah, like James Robinson is a big
Robinson.
Yeah, Elijah Mitchell is another one where everybody thought he was going to be the guy. It's clear as day you should put him on the block. And running backs, obviously, the second they hit their quote unquote top value, you try to flip them, because
and CEH is still going to be on that roster for one more year.
I'm out.
Oh, I'm out too, but it's going
to
affect Pacheco for sure.
You hurt me too much.
Because McKinnon, if McKinnon comes back, it's going to be on a cheap deal.
McKinnon has to come back on like a veteran minimum. He's going to be 31.
Yeah, no one's going to want him.
We saw Cordell Patterson. What if Cordell Patterson goes to Kansas City?
That could be fun. That could be fun. They're going to need to do something.
Yes.
They'll figure it out. All right, let's go back to Tyler and his terrible takes. Sorry, Tyler, I'm just kidding.
No, they probably are.
Wan'Dale Robinson would be the best statistical rookie wide receiver.
Wandale.
He finished at wide receiver 110. Through weeks 6 through 11, he was wide receiver 45. He did have that one big game over 100 yards and then tore his Achilles? ACL?
It was ACL.
That's right. So, yeah, this one, especially because this rookie class, man, was
Yeah,
nice.
You look back at the
receiver
stats
position
for this rookie class, and like, because I have Olave and Garrett Wilson on, and I'm like, God, how much lower did Olave finish than Garrett Wilson? And I'm like, wow, they were very close. Like
both over 1,000 yards. Man.
I was shocked at that. Drake London showed some promise at the end of the year with Ritter. Yeah, this rookie class is going to be a good one, and I should have put this as a hot take, even though because everybody is all pumped up about the 23 class. And I said multiple times, even on Twitter, like, hey, if you want a receiver, get the ones in this class, because next year is not going to be as good. And if you listen to me, like that, I did not like anybody in like Quentin Johnson, like you said. I'm not a big fan. He's like a Kevin White type player.
I was just gonna say I get Kevin White vibes from him for some reason.
And then like Najigba, I get Juju Smith-Schuster vibes. Like he could be the good version, but and then there's Addison. He reminds me of Calvin Ridley, which is fine. But you could go get Calvin Ridley for half or even less than the price of what he will be. So I was a huge fan of this class. Garrett Wilson, I've loved since he was a freshman, and I'm very happy about that. But let's move on.
It was a hot take. A hot take.
Let's move on. Next one for James was Kenneth Walker. Was this a top 3 running back all-time rookie season? Is that what this was?
All-time rookie season rushing yards, yes.
Okay, and you said he'd go over 1,600 yards as a rookie. He hit what, like over 1,000 though, right?
He had over 1,000.
Yeah.
I was doing some math on it, and I was trying to figure out a way if he could do it, but no, he did not. He did not start early enough in the season We
He had the
saw
injury early.
Yeah, he was dealing with an injury. We saw Rashad Penny take
Rashad
over
Penny
for the
got hurt.
first
Strange.
quarter of the season, and then he came on. So I mean, he didn't break 1,000 yards on the ground. He had over 1,000 yards all purpose, but that doesn't cut it. I still think Kenneth Walker is one of the best running backs in this class. I had said it over and over again that he was going to be a very valuable asset for your dynasty teams. We saw him fall in a couple of later startup or rookie drafts
Late first.
in general. Yes. And I think if you were able to get him towards the back end of the first round last year, you are rewarded moving forward.
In startups, I think right now he's a top 5 running back.
He's up there right now. I mean,
Yeah.
he showed off. Like, he really doesn't have too much competition in that backfield. We don't know Rashad Penny, this was his 1 year to prove it. He was on the last year
He
of his
proved
deal.
that he's still injury ridden.
And currently, Kenneth Walker sits as the RB3 in Dynasty, which is very, very nice. One spot ahead of Saquon Barkley on Dynasty League football.
It will
And-
change.
and
Bijan's coming in.
Yes, I'm sure it will. But before that happens, before you get the landing spot of Bijan, would you be willing to sell Kenneth Walker for a mid-first?
No, I'm hanging on to Ken Walker. Like, pretty much you're saying mid-first, it's Jahmyr Gibbs or Ken Walker, and I get Gibbs' pass-catching upside's great, but Ken Walker has proven it, and he's on a team that wants to run the ball. So, yeah, give me Ken Walker.
Yeah, especially with a younger offensive line that they'll probably
Add to because they
yeah.
have no needs, really, with Geno playing well.
For sure. Absolutely. All right, let's move on to my next one. And this is probably my best one. Yeah, this is my best one. The Rams offense underperforms ADP at every single position.
Yeah.
And guess what? They sure did. I said that the Rams were going to be not great following up their Super Bowl win. Their
But
offensive line
Why
was
did
trash.
you say that? Yeah, there it is.
Their offensive line was trash. So who did we see lose value? Allen Robinson, Matt Stafford, Cam Akers. Although he did regain a little bit at the end of the season, he still lost value from the beginning of the season. Tyler Higbee, Van Jefferson, Cooper Kupp. He lost value too. Like, he's slid down a little bit in the dynasty rankings. He's at wide receiver like 5 or 6 now, where he was wide receiver 1 or 2. So this whole Rams offense nailed it. I avoided it in almost all my leagues because I had a feeling it was going to be poop. I smelt the poop. I looked at the poop, and I confirmed it was poop.
It was really poop.
You
Yes.
poop mouth,
You
Ron.
poop mouth. God damn it, Ron. Talk about my city. Yeah, so that's my biggest one. I was adamant about the Rams offense underperforming. Bam! Nailed it. All right, Tyler, your last one here. Justin Fields will finish as QB5. You nailed it. He
The
finishes.
quick throw-in.
He
the quick
finished
throw-in
as
at the end.
QB5 at the end. He's Dynasty QB8 right now.
I did it. I won.
God damn it, I did it, guys.
I won. You know what? This is the last episode ever of Dynasty.
I'm walking tall.
I'm leaving up. I don't want to Tom Brady and just suck.
You're going to leave on a good note.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't think it'd be like this, but it's nice.
Lamar Jackson did.
I have him in a league, and I at first was like, I need to trade him. But man, there's rumors flowing around that Michael Pittman and 105, I think the Colts have. Michael Pittman and 105 to go get that 101 so the Colts can go get their quarterback. There's rumors of that floating around. They've got to get a weapon, and I think with that 101 pick in their hands when they don't need a quarterback, they're going to trade back, and they could get a lot. Like, they could get the world, especially if CJ Stroud declares, or you know Bryce Young. Everything kind of pans out with him, and him being the second coming of the Lollipop Guild with Kyler Murray.
I can't even stand that dude's name anymore. Kyler Murray just makes my skin crawl.
There's rumors that Bryce Young is like 180 pounds at 5'10". That is not good.
It's like Devonta Smith playing quarterback.
Yeah, Devonta Smith is 6'1". That's
a
bigger issue.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very interesting offseason with quarterbacks, but Chicago does not need one because Justin Fields has proven proven that he could be a guy like because there are games later on when he was running, like to go on to the NFL aspect of it, he was actually helping them almost win games. They were so close, but their defense was a sieve and just kind of let them have the game-winning field goal or touchdown, so Chicago would lose.
Yep. All right, let's move on to James's last one. He had Jared Goff would be Dynasty QB 15. He's currently Dynasty quarterback 23, still too low in my opinion. Up from QB 33, which is outside of the starters, by the way. There's 32 teams in the NFL, and he finished QB 10 on the season. I was with you on this one because I was all about Jared Goff at that ADP. I acquired him in a bunch of leagues that I could. So yeah, I love this one, and I don't think they make a move.
I got a quick question.
Mhm.
Going in 2023, would you rather have Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins?
Jared Goff.
Give me Goff.
And because Kirk Cousins, there's questions as much as there's questions with Goff. Cousins, I think he's got one more year on his deal. Goff, they've kind of committed to 2023. Goff is also very young. He's
young. He's like 27.
He's like 5 years younger than
at least.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
And if Goff can play like Cousins is, like the only issue for the Vikings was defense, and Detroit has figured out their defense. So
yeah,
I think Goff is.
And they also have 2 nice picks.
Goff is a sneaky buy. Like
he has been for a year.
Yeah.
Would you rather have, like, say you're in a super flex league and your only need is a quarterback? Would you give up a late first for Goff?
Yeah.
In this class, yes.
Yeah.
I think I would too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's
and
28 years
I don't
old.
like this class outside of the top 10 or 11 right now.
I think
like
they
Richardson and
extend
Levis,
him.
but
I think they extend his contract, even though it's a pricey price tag.
he is a great price for a quarterback in this.
I think he
in this
fits.
era.
I think he fits this offense. Not to say that like they built around him. They didn't exactly do that, but what they did was put him in a good position to succeed. All right, they have a good culture there in Detroit. Yeah. They believe in one another. They lean on each other.
Good line.
They got rid of Hawkinson, which
Good
in
weapons.
the beginning of the season was like, oh, we need this Hawkinson thing, and I'm picking this up for an alley-oop for Doug for his next hot take. But I think this team, we haven't seen the last of them. I think they're going to be on the rise in the next couple of years. We see Green Bay on the downfall. I think we've seen Minnesota peak.
I think Detroit's going to be the
potential.
favorite to win the
think,
division next year.
I mean, I would
Jameson
put money
Williams, Jameson Williams, healthy.
They have 2 top 12 picks.
Yeah,
I think they continue to reassess the offensive line.
Oh, they're gonna get a big time player on defense.
Yeah, and that's again. I mean, that the addition of Aiden Hutchinson, this franchise just needs one more pass rusher, and they're going to make some real noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Williams on one side and Hutchinson on the other. Good night.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have 2 bookend tackles, you're screwed.
Yeah. So I've got 2 more hot takes to wrap up mine. These were kind of, I had one at the end that actually worked out really well. The one James was alluding to was with the Lions. All the talk was Amon-Ra St. Brown's finish at the end of the season was because there was no Hawkinson. He was the only guy. If you watched Amon-Ra St. Brown play football, you know that he was very, very good at football. He should have never lasted into the 4th round in the NFL draft. Stupid GMs everywhere. The Lions took advantage. He finished as wide receiver 7, 100 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He's currently the Dynasty wide receiver 8. My hot take was that out of anybody in Dynasty at the wide receiver position, he would gain the most value from when we recorded until now. And guess what? He did just that. He went from wide receiver, I think he was in the late teens or early 20s.
Yeah, he was a high-end wide receiver too.
Yeah, and he's all the way up to wide receiver 8 in Dynasty. And there's people, I've listened to a couple redraft podcasts, and they're talking about 2023 and rankings, and people have Amon-Ra St. Brown like fringe 1st round, early 2nd round in redraft. So like it's only going to go up, especially with a healthy Jameson Williams. Even if they draft the tight end, they're not going to use them. Let's be honest. If they draft Michael Mayer, cool for real football, not great for Dynasty. We know what happens when Detroit drafts tight ends. They don't feature them. They don't use them as much as we'd like. So I'd fade that. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, target hog, consistent, safe floor. He didn't have as many of those big ceiling games like he did in 2021 this year, but the talent is there. He was banged up a few weeks with the ankle. Love Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I'm loving how that take worked out. And my last one that I snuck in there was that Christian Kirk finishes as a wide receiver 2. He finished at wide receiver 14. And for a lot of the season, he was a wide receiver 1. So for me, it was they paid him big money, and everyone freaking laughed at the deal that they paid Christian Kirk. And he came out and he balled. Between him, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram, it gave Trevor Lawrence the weapons that he needed to have an amazing year 2. A healthy Travis Etienne helped. Like we said, they're going to get Ridley next year. Marvin Jones is out the door. Jacksonville is a team obviously up and coming. They, we saw what they did yesterday in the playoffs. We saw Trevor Lawrence's poise. When I said last year that remember Peyton Manning's rookie season and how bad it was, and I compared it to Trevor Lawrence's rookie season, and then Peyton Manning turned it around, it's exactly what Trevor Lawrence has done. So that's why you buy low on a generational talent who had a shit coach, Urban Meyer, and brings in Doug Peterson, who knows what he's doing. So that was an easy take.
So going back to your Amon-Ra take, we remember Jarvis Landry, who was a fantastic PPR wide receiver.
You're talking about Miami, Jarvis Landry.
When he had like 5 yards per catch.
But he was 100 catches,
Yep.
like right around 1,000 yards, and people were all like, "Oh, I don't like
He's
Jarvis
boring.
Landry. Yeah, he's boring." But yet he always ended up high end wide receiver 2. High end wide receiver 2. That is Amon-Ra, but Amon-Ra has a little more juice to him, I think. And the thing is, with having Jarvis, he's always undervalued. So I think Amon-Ra's kind of got that feel to him. He's always going to be that guy that is going to be a little undervalued, and people are always going to be like, well, I'm not sure. I was that guy last year. I'll admit.
He didn't make many big plays this year, so I think that's probably going to insulate that take.
I'll admit, I was kind of off of it. I thought because Swift and Hockenson were out, I was one of them. He succeeded. And I loved Amon-Ra St. Brown. From the get-go, I was a massive fan as a freshman at USC, but I just, after the rookie year, I'm like, I don't know if I can trust this, and that was on me. So good on you, Doug. And I like these episodes because not only can we kind of be like, wow, I should have seen that coming, but it's also nice to look at your
wow,
hits.
I should have listened to Doug and James.
It's also looking at your hits as well.
And Tyler.
Because
Justin Fields, right? Give him
because
some slack.
as much as we swing and miss helping you guys out, we do hit a lot more often, but a lot of people, in social media and stuff like to point out our misses more than our hits. So when we come out here and we do talk about our hits, we're not gloating per se. We're just telling you guys like, hey, we can help you. We're here to help you. And if you do listen to us, we hope you did and you have succeeded and won championships like we all have this year, except James, sorry. You'll get it next year.
4 finals, didn't win a damn one. But I
Virtual
got
hug.
the Evan Ingram hot take right. So
That's true.
I'll relax all off season.
We all
You
had
should
a
get a
good one.
custom
Riding
belt
that
made
one.
just
with
for that.
Evan Ingram's picture on it.
With his stats.
Yeah.
How about in a Giants jersey though?
Tight end 5. No. I already ordered the Jaguars jersey.
Did
I
you?
mean, that's
Nice.
yeah. No.
I do like the number
I
7.
should.
Like I was kind of against the whole single digits tight end like Kyle Pitts. I was like, I don't know if I like it. I do like the 17 though. Like that for me, I was like, okay, I can live with that.
That's not
I
terrible.
mean, the Amon-Ra St. Brown take that Doug had was crazy in the sense that the numbers that you went along with it. You said 110 receptions. He had 100 receptions on 137 targets. That's what gave me the wow factor of your hot take. The fact that he almost hit that mark. 1,300 yards, you said he fell short of that, but he was dealing with some injury. He only played 15 games throughout the season.
Yeah, he didn't have many big explosive plays like he did.
And the
at 21.
touchdowns were down from your prediction.
You know who's gonna help this?
However, the fact that he finished last year as wide receiver 24 and moved up to wide receiver 7 and gained so much dynasty value as he did that with not hitting his full ceiling potential, I don't think. I think he can have better seasons than the one that we just saw. I mean, they are still adjusting that offense on an every game basis, and he is still a main benefactor of the passing game. So this is going to continue, and
So
I wouldn't be surprised if his stock just continues to climb.
So also, it's going to help him out is Jameson Williams stretching the field. Like,
Oh yeah,
you know what happens when you have a guy that fast? Like, he was coming off an ACL and he was flying past people at the end of the
looked good.
season.
Yeah.
He is so fast. You know what's going to help that? Pulling that safety with the corner because he burns the corner. And Amon-Ra is going to be right in that little bubble where he's going to have nobody around him. That's going to be Detroit's game plan. My hope is that if Ben Johnson does leave, because he is a fantastic OC, they are kind of building within. Like, they have somebody in waiting within that organization, which I do think they build that way. Maybe we see Brunell come up and be the OC, which would be a fine addition, because what he's done with Goff, too, shouldn't be overlooked, because Brunell with Goff, he's done great work. So this whole entire Detroit offense is going to be awesome and very frustrating for me as a Vikings fan, because I agree with you, Doug. I do think they will have this division next year.
Yeah. And you know, the thing about Amon-Ra St. Brown, he reminds me of a more athletic Keenan Allen in the role that he can play on that team.
yeah.
Just being a target monster. He's a smart player. He knows how to get open. He knows to look for the soft zone. He's the quarterback's best friend. And that's what Keenan Allen's been all these years. And, you know, Keenan Allen in his heyday was a lock for 90 to 100 catches, 1,000 yards, 5 to 8 touchdowns. And I think Amon-Ra's got more than that. But that's kind of the role that I see him playing in that offense with more explosive plays, because Keenan Allen's never been explosive, let's be honest. But he's a precise route runner who's super smart, and that is Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that's kind of what I look at him as. Keenan Allen with the juice, if you will, would be my definition. And speaking of juice, if you're still looking to get that edge and you're still looking to play some fantasy football, the good news is you still can on Underdog. You can go on there. You can do a pick 'em where it's all different prop bets. You can pick 5, bet 10 for win 200. I got close 3 times this season on those, and I lost by like 5 yards, and I'm still salty about it. So,
I'd like to add something to this
absolutely.
right now, because tonight, as long as my players keep doing well this week, I will advance to the second round of the Gauntlet, which is their playoff tournament. It just closed yesterday afternoon before the game started, but it was a 10-player teams with 6 teams in each division. And I didn't know what I was getting into, but it's best ball, baby. And I hit on a bunch. TJ Hawkinson hit for me. Saquon Barkley hit for me. Trevor Lawrence hit for me. These are the players that, you didn't expect them to move forward, but I'm going to gain a little bit more next week. So I'm really happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a multiplier, right?
Yeah, you get a multiplier.
You don't know. I don't think it's a multiplier. I think it's a week by week situation.
Oh, okay. But still.
And if you
fun way to play.
If you are top in your division, you move on to the next week. And as long as you make it to the second round, you get your money back. So I'm happy about that as well.
And use code DHH. You'll get up to $100 matched right away. So if you can only spend $25, you'll get $25 of free play. So you have $50 to play with. Lots and lots of fun. And then if you're into baseball and other sports, they have all of that stuff on there as well. If you're a true sycophant and you play all the sports and all the betting, best of luck to you. But use code DHH when you do that, and they'll match up to $100. I want to give a shout out to the Dynasty Nerds as well. Shout out to Rich's basement that got flooded. Hopefully that's going to be all. Yeah, hopefully that's going to be all taken care of. We had a pipe burst and stuff got wet, which is never fun. And water's been main enemy of a lot of the houses I've lived in, so I feel that. So check out Dynasty Nerds and the Nerd Herd. We get 15% off using code DHH. There's trade tools. There's an extra Nerd Herd episode, prospect film room, prospect scores, and the Dynasty GM. Just a lot of cool stuff on there. And while you're on nerdherd.com or dynastynerds.com, rather, go on Verdian Global. You're looking to pick up a sweatshirt. You're looking to pick up a shirt, a hat. Check it out. You can use DHH, search Dynasty Happy Hour. You can find all your needs on there. And while you're still on the internet, because I'm going to ask you to do things, and you're probably going to be like, Doug, shut up and just end the episode. While you're on iTunes, if you listen to us through there, leave a review. Let us know how we did. Were the dad jokes strong? Were they not enough? Were we not trying to be cool? Were we trying to be too cool? I still think about that guy that left that review.
Calm down, Steve Buscemi.
Punch him right in the face. So I'm going to go to his house and be like, did you say this?
Our take's not hot enough.
Like a Jay and Silent Bob. Are you Ladies Man 217? No, that's Transformers. Anywho, all right, that's going to wrap us up today for the Dynasty Happy Hour. We will be back next week. Doug, Tyler, James, we're out of here. We'll see you next week.
Later, guys.